The last full week of March has come and gone. Very little movement on the leaderboard this week. I think everybody is within like 1 percentage point of where they were last week. So, going to be an interesting week to kind of recap what on earth is going on. Austin, let's start with you. I alluded to it last week, since you were not with us, that Square might be having some trouble because of Cash App's security vulnerabilities. And I can't help but notice that they're down like 9% for the month. So, what's going on? Is that it? Are there other things going on? Because in the month of February, they did pretty well for you.
Well, I mean, I think it looks like tech is doing poorly overall, but
It is.
With their security issue, I mean, Zoom had a security issue a couple years ago, but they're doing fine. So once they put out the PR that there's not really a security issue, it'll be like it never happened in the first place.
Okay, so you're not concerned at this point.
No, I think it's a good buying opportunity.
Okay. Kyle, what happened this week?
I don't know. There was a lot of jumping in the middle of the week, but ultimately, kind of just bounced out then. So, I guess everything kind of just held from last week. Honestly, I didn't really see anything that stuck out to me. I did end up selling my Ripple.
I noticed.
I got to a fairly high point, and I sold, and I've been kind of happy with selling at that point because it's been doing some interesting things, going up and down, but not really holding past the point that I sold at. So that was a fun foray to crypto, but it's slightly profitable. But overall, I think if I would be open to maybe investing in another type of cryptocurrency, but just not Ripple, because I don't really hear anyone else talk about. I don't really know what Ripple is outside of the fact that an investor pushes it. So I would probably invest in a different coin at that point. But
It's funny that you bring up that, because one of the larger stories from the crypto community this week was a new development in the ongoing lawsuit between the Securities and Exchange Commission and the people who founded Ripple.
nice.
Essentially, they're trying to determine whether some large-scale transactions much earlier in Ripple's history were a violation of federal securities law. But general speculation based on some comments that have come out from the Securities and Exchange Commission is that they think whales are going to come back to Ripple and create some very, very extreme volatility for crypto in general. So I'm very curious to see if you got out at the right time and are able to jump into something else, or if you sold too early. Because with crypto, it's impossible to tell until it's already happened.
Yeah, it's definitely a roller coaster.
Lucky for us, Austin still has some, so you can live vicariously through him or laugh at him when it craters and you sold off and counted all your money already.
I was just looking now, and 50% of my gains are in Ripple. Damn. Okay.
I guess that shouldn't surprise me.
Personally, I did buy Stellar Lumens. It's the fourth most popular cryptocurrency on Coinbase, and I actually looked into what makes the technology different, and it's really good for like taking a physical currency like the pound or the dollar and exchanging it across borders.
Interesting.
They have the company's Stellar. That's the name of the company, and their coin is called a Lumen. And their website is stellar.org. And I mean, I don't understand it 100%, but I get the idea of how it works.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'll have to look into that. That might be one to watch.
Yeah.
Kyle, anything big in your portfolio this week?
No, I mean, my portfolio was fairly similar in that like most things kind of held where they were, except for the annoying thing. It's always like every time I say I'm gonna sell this thing, right? I'm gonna sell this company. it's always that company that bounces back hella hard and like, hey, well maybe I don't sell it. So,
Welcome to the market.
yeah, so it's like, I don't know. Like, it feels kind of like dumb to like every week it's like, hey, I'm gonna do this thing, and then it's like, oh well, I didn't do that thing. I mean, like, I guess it makes sense, right? Like, if at the time it doesn't make sense to do what you said to do, you don't do it.
Yep.
But I feel like it's now a recurring message for me, like, oh, he keeps saying he's gonna do this thing. It's like, dude, he just never does it. No commitment. But yeah, so I mean, for the most part, the portfolio stayed fairly similar. Cognizant went up quite a bit. The first race is this weekend.
It's got to be that F1.
Honestly, I don't know, but like maybe I don't know. But I mean, it was pulling pretty hard, like even before, and I don't think it was related to the season testing previously. And I'm pretty sure it's not related to the race this weekend. But yeah, I don't know. Etsy was previously like super neat. Pinterest is down 14%. Etsy was like down 14%, like almost similarly. Now it's only down 8%. So I mean, yeah, for the most part, everything kind of balanced out. Some things dropped, but then there's other things that kind of bounced back. Helped equalize. Yeah.
For sure. I'm curious to see some of the potential long-standing impacts from the aforementioned Suez Canal blockage, and whether or not that's going to impact the market as a whole or isolated sectors of the market. So obviously, we don't know what's on all of the ships that are currently being prevented from maneuvering through that canal. But global trade estimates are not good at this point. So I'm very curious this week to see what happens in that regard. Austin, I guess, give me some thoughts. What type of disruption could we be looking at this week, depending on how quickly they're able to get that thing out of the way?
The first thing that comes to mind is oil. I imagine.
I mean, commodities in general, right? Probably top of the list.
Probably commodities in general. The prices will go up just because there'll be a shortage and the demand will still be the same. That's the first thing that comes to mind is commodities.
Okay. I also heard a rumor that there might be a toilet paper shortage once again.
Oh,
Fantastic.
I'm freshly stocked, luckily, so.
There you go.
I have a bidet, so I'll be okay.
Oh, living large. Okay.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Tragically, I think I'm in need.
You're in need, dang. Oh no. Gotta get to Costco quick before people start hoarding it.
On a larger note, though, assuming that there is going to be relatively significant negative impacts from this, does that potentially open up a buying opportunity in shipping and logistics? Or commodities, even?
I would say commodities would be the best bet.
Okay. And if you're going to do that, you should, buy it Monday morning when the market opens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you want to buy something that you either, commodity prices will go up, but there's also going to be some stocks that are directly or indirectly attached to those commodities that will go down in value. So, whichever one you feel most comfortable with, you can do that.
I'm very curious because I know we spent some time last week talking about TSMC and the chip shortage and the drought in the Far East and a whole bunch of other things as to, trying to pin down whether it was poised for a breakout, whether it was overvalued. We all agree that the long-term outlook is good. But I'm curious to see if in industries where shortages are already occurring, how much more this is going to exacerbate some of those supply chain issues and how that's going to impact the price of the shares. Because I would assume they would have to go down. But
Yeah. I think it's a good buying opportunity. I mean, the is short term, realistically, and then
Yep.
things get moving again. It's just going to take a few weeks for it to kind of get back on track. But
Yep.
once the ship's good, then things will rebalance again. So it's just if you're like a day trader type person, then I would just hold on to it for a couple weeks, and then when things get moving again, it'd be the time to sell, I think.
Yeah. I saw something on the news, I think it was yesterday. They're saying that even after all of this gets resolved, it might take like 5 years to sort out all the insurance claims.
Yeah, insurance always takes forever.
That is just mind-blowing to me.
It's got all that paperwork and stuff that has to get documented.
Well, and they were saying, like, it's not just the ship or the cargo on the ship, but, like, if you owned something in an individual container and you had insurance on that item in that one container, if every person who had one or two things in any of those containers all did that before the journey, if they had proper insurance, like, how many claims is that?
Sure.
Like, potentially millions of claims. Not even counting the other boats, not even counting any of the rest of it.
For my logistics side of things, I had to order some contact. They don't sell my prescription of contacts in Indonesia, so I had to order it from elsewhere. I found some in Hong Kong, but it's been stuck at Jakarta Customs for a few days now.
Oof.
It's just a small box of contacts. So
Dude, they gotta search it real good, dude. Make sure you're not legally importing things.
Yep. No illegal narcotics trafficking in a box of contacts.
Nice.
I don't know how true it is either, but I read that only one port that's open right now in Indonesia for like airplanes coming in, cargo planes. Well, they only left one open, so there's probably a big backup there as well.
Oof.
Yeah.
All kinds of fun international logistics scenarios this week.
Yeah.
The other thing to keep an eye on as we talk about potential market volatility is that for a lot of companies, this coming week will mark the end of fiscal quarter number 1. So we've got some federal reports coming out about, I know offhand there's some construction and spending reports. There's obviously always like labor reports that'll come out. Obviously consumer spending with the stimulus checks, you would expect March to be a better month for that than February. But in addition to all of this volatility with international markets and blockages and supply chain disruption, we also have to take that into account. So, I guess that would be my friendly way of reminding everybody, check on everything before they report and kind of get an idea of where they're at. Because if you're poised for good earnings, maybe that's a good buying opportunity. If it sounds like something is going to tank, maybe that's an opportunity to get out while you still can. There is no cut and dry formula on how to navigate earnings, but just something to be aware of. But the real topic of interest for tonight that I am very excited to talk about is the fact that 1 year after the largest IPO failure in all of human history, WeWork is going public via SPAC.
Ooh. WeWork Labs is going.
WeWork is going public. I want to say their current valuation is at $9 billion. Last year at this time, they were valued at $49 billion.
I still think $9 billion is too much.
I would agree. Like I don't understand this. I really don't. Like
With their business model, do they?
it's a real estate development. Like it's just like a hipster way of saying we buy buildings and put people in them.
Well, are they even buying the buildings, or are they just long-term leaseholds?
Well, and that's the thing. Some of them they don't own. So they are paying rent on some things. Some of them they do own outright. But if they have to rent any of that space, they're passing some of that along to the end customer. The end customer pays for it. Like, we've all been working from home for a year. If people wanted WeWork, now would be the time to do it. Like, the fact that they haven't started printing their own money in the middle of a global pandemic should tell you that, the market for them is not as big as they want it to be, in my opinion.
Right.
Because I don't understand it. Like, who is WeWork good for? Let's explore this for a second.
I mean, it's only really good for it if you need like a location for people to be on site, but everyone normally works remotely. I would say, like it would be like your client needs to meet with your team or something, or you have some sort of security clause that says you need to be in a room that meets these constraints, so you rent out a place.
Well, like, the only other thing I could think is, like, if you're a multinational and you're adding some type of field office somewhere, maybe it's cheaper for you to rent a WeWork than buy a building or lease something long term because you don't know how well this is going to go.
I guess is that WeWork's thing? It's like it's monthly, like you can leave whenever.
I mean, there's contractual flexibility. Obviously they give you price breaks if you want to sign longer deals, but
Like my company, there's quite a few. WeWork is in Jakarta, but there's also quite a few other ones. But my company uses a co-working space just because there's only I don't know 6 or 7 employees, but also like some other like international companies that just have a few employees here, like Netflix, for example. They have an office here, but they just use a co-working space at WeWork, I think.
okay.
So that's another way it's being used, internationally at least.
So there's a market for some of those things, potentially. I mean, I guess I still think $9 billion is too much. I don't understand how. Like, honestly, the way to make the most money off of WeWork, and this is my incredibly jaded opinion, sell off all your buildings, take the profit, distribute it amongst everybody, shut the damn doors, and run away. Like, that would be the best thing to do. It's not that they don't provide value, it's that I just don't see a road to safe and consistent profit as a publicly traded company. Like, to me, this is still kind of niche, I guess. That and the fact that to even get to this point, last week they laid off like 67% of all their employees or something like that.
Thanks.
Like, that's a massive haircut.
Yeah.
And you're still valued at way less than you were 12 months ago. So, I guess that brings me to the bottom line question. In 12 months, if you bought WeWork SPAC as soon as it was available, have you made money or not? Call your shot, guys. What do we
I
think?
don't think so. I don't think so.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know what I would personally be using WeWork Labs for. So
Yeah.
I work for a company that I feel like they would probably want to be trying to get. Like it's a smaller company that doesn't have its own office space. Like that is ideally who would use a co-opting or like a shared space. But just like I don't think it's necessary, right, to get the job done. So
Yeah, I mean, I think the last 12 months has shown, like, it's nice to have, and if you can afford it, you might do it. But so many people are used to working from home now. I don't really see the co-working space as the go-between between people working from home forever and people fully going back to the office. Like, I just don't see that happening. But if you do need a reason to root for it to succeed, it's apparently the SPAC company backed by Shaquille O'Neal. So it's a fun trivia nugget for you.
Shaq is.
Oh, everyone has a SPAC now. Absolutely everybody.
Well, I'm not surprised that he has one. I'm surprised that WeWork Labs, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
I don't know that inspires any more confidence.
Like Shaq invests in a lot of things, and he takes a lot of investments. I can see it. Yeah, fine.
He's a successful franchisee. He's got some stuff going on.
Interesting to me that he picked WeWork Labs. Just doesn't seem like his brand, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he's not the only one who's underwriting this. There's other people
I mean,
involved.
yeah,
but-
obviously his business decisions and his on TV
It could be on brand and like shooting bricks, basically.
So I came across a startup in Southeast Asia, a startup tech company in my work, and I was on Crunchbase looking at the investors, and one of them was Pharrell Williams.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah. So
I like
they're just getting there. I'm obviously they have people working for them doing it, but
Yeah.
they're just getting money out places.
So then, from your perspective, as somebody who does like private equity research for a living, if you see a famous person on the balance sheet, does that make you more confident, less confident? Does it matter?
It depends who the famous person is.
Yeah, if they're famous for something relevant, it probably matters.
Yeah.
Like, like Bill Gates invested in a tech company.
Well,
that
yeah.
matters. But
Like,
if
Peter,
Bill
like,
Gates invests in a makeup company, I would be much less interested.
Right. Like if we see a fintech company and one of the investors is Peter Thiel, then yeah, that looks good.
Yeah.
Because he's also like you have to think of it this way. I mean, you have to think what can these investors or companies provide other than financial benefit.
Yeah.
Someone like Peter Thiel can provide a lot of value to a fintech startup.
He has the expertise. Yeah, certainly.
So that's
Conversely, if you see an event business and Ja Rule is on the balance sheet, run as fast as you can.
exactly. Yeah. The greatest festival that never happened.
I still cannot believe it even made it that far, dude. Like, I watched that documentary and I was like, if this is all it takes to have people cut you extremely large checks, why do I still have a day job? Like, I should just start calling people and asking them for money, because that's essentially what happened.
I mean, it's essentially what happened, but you don't want to deal with the legal fallout of what happens when everyone finds out.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, large-scale fraud is never a good idea, but it just amazed me how quickly and how easily he managed to sucker people.
You get a couple famous people to buy in, and
Bunch of Instagram models, an orange square, and some famous people with lots of money, and there you go. There you go.
It shows you how many people are looking for an escape.
Yeah, it's true. Alrighty. Well, as we wrap up the month of March, obviously market is closed on Friday for Good Friday. And then the 1st of April...
Is that really a thing?
It is really a thing. That is a market holiday.
It's a religious holiday?
So, the market observes some interesting holidays sometimes. It is not tied to like the federal government calendar for what is a federal observance. The market kind of does its own thing.
Yeah, but I'm just kind of. I mean, I guess if I think about a lot of old money, yeah, they're probably
Yeah.
all fairly religious, but still, it's just interesting.
It is interesting, yes. So really, you have until Wednesday at closing time to make any adjustments and lock in any last-ditch efforts to avoid last place. Kyle and Kyle, since you're only about a percentage point and a half apart from each other, are there any plans?
Oh man.
I heard that there's a lumber shortage. If it makes you feel any better about pulling the trigger on Home Depot, there's not going to be consistently available lumber for like the next 6 months or something like that.
Does that help or hurt? They can't get lumber.
I guess it would technically drop the prices of Home Depot, but so I guess that's kind of bad in a way. But like,
I mean, it depends. If you can sell it for more money, you have more profit.
that's true.
It just depends how much of it you can get your hands on.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If you have
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
supply, then
If they got supplied before the shortage, then
Yeah.
it's a profit. But if they are also having to pay an extra rate for the shortage, then yeah, they're gonna charge you more, but they're just passing along the buck, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, so then plot twist. Is this the time that you go in and short a bunch of publicly traded American home builders?
I don't know.
Austin?
Well, are we even?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know actually.
In grand scale, I don't know, but there's definitely a development right outside my neighborhood that's getting built right now.
Yeah, I mean, the housing market, particularly where we are, has been so damn hot for the last, like, 7 years in a row. Like, that's probably not a good representative sample size of the market as a whole. But, like, locally, it is hot. And stuff is going to continue to be built.
Yeah, like I can't speak for like the rest of the. I can't even speak for anywhere outside of like the Greater Seattle area. But I mean, in our immediate area, it looks like it's not cooling down at any point.
Yeah, I mean, the Seattle-Tacoma area was once again the hottest home market in the country last month. So, anyway, not that we want to get into shorting talk because that's how we become a punchline on Wall Street Bets, but food for thought. Maybe look at American home builders and see if there's an opportunity.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the question at hand. Any last-minute moves?
I'm just gonna be coasting.
Coasting? You're content?
I'm comfortable.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to need to buy myself a bigger trophy then. Start adding plates to the bottom for every month that I win.
Yeah.
Perhaps. No, I think for me right now, I have a bunch of extra cash from selling Ripple, so gotta figure out what to do with it. But
Okay.
don't have any ideas right now.
No immediate need, but you've definitely got some discretionary money to spend.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a fun one. I'm excited to see what you do with it.
Nice. It's hard to say. I guess I might as well just sell the Adobe right now. Sell Adobe right now. Just commit to what I said I was gonna do. I don't know. We'll see.
Where is it at right now?
It's up. I believe. Actually, I don't. What is the percentage next to the price? Is that like?
That's like
What is that
last
increase?
days.
That's the last day. So for the month, Adobe is up 0.49%.
So you're technically a profit still.
0.49.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it's basically even.
So depending on what you bought it at in February, you're up slightly or you're down slightly.
Well, I mean, wait, is the percentage? Is my percentage different than yours? Yours says next to the price it's up. It's up.
No, that's the last day. You got to look at the chart. You got to look at the whole chart.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it just became green for me, and I'm just like, I don't know. I always do this. I always doubt myself.
Oh my.
But I don't. I guess I'll have to compare more with Home Depot and see if I exactly. But Home Depot's got a real nice chart right now. It's just like 45 degrees, just straight up. So I don't know. Maybe it's a good time to get on. But it's the. All right, I'm doing it live, right?
Well, so I guess you're submitting your orders. They'll open on Monday.
Yes. So you're selling Adobe for Home Depot.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully it doesn't bite me on the. Wait. Okay, I don't. It's asking me to pay money, so never mind. I have to unlock something on investors.
You don't have any trades left?
He hasn't made any. He has to have some.
You have to have some. Okay. Well, while Kyle figures out how to use the platform.
Okay, I think it's because the market's up right now, and technically I have not sold my. I don't have the capital from Home Depot.
Oh, I guess he
Adobe
can't
yet.
put the buy. He can't put the buy in until the sell goes through.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'll have to check that on Monday. But yeah. It'll be a thing. I have already put in my.
All right. Excited to see whether that catapults you out of last place or not.
I honestly,
I mean, it really depends. The 3 days is plenty of time in the right set of circumstances. It's just a question of whether or not you will get those circumstances or not.
Yeah, but I've been riding that solid last place. It's like, so it's not looking too hot for me, but I'm not gonna concede just yet.
All right. Well, we'll have a drama-filled final couple of days here. Good luck, guys. I will be tracking it very closely because I'm very curious to see how this Home Depot bet goes. But, yeah, enjoy the rest of March, and we'll talk to you again soon.